Tonight, the NBA Finals are here. The Miami Heat, the Los Angeles Lakers. I got Mac with Talks Mac with me. Mac, what's up, bro?
Hey, how's it going? I appreciate you letting me get back on.
So what's your take? Your Lakers are in the finals. What are we to expect? What's your prediction?
I'm excited, man. This has been about a decade since I've seen Laker basketball in the playoffs, and the fact that the Lakers made it to the championship is amazing. I see the Lakers taking it in 5 games.
I'm going to say Lakers in 7. A lot of people are ruling out the Miami Heat. I think the Heat, this is the best team that the Lakers seen all playoffs, and I don't even think it's particularly close. The Blazers, no, the Blazers never had a real chance, even though supposedly, according to the casuals, the Lakers are huge underdogs against the Blazers. Everyone thought the Blazers were going to upset them, and then they said the Rockets are going to do it, and then they said the Nuggets had the Lakers right where they wanted to, down 3-1. But if we're going to be realistic, the Heat are clearly the best team that the Lakers seen all postseason. The thing that I think the Heat match up really well with the Lakers is the three-point shooting. The Lakers, we know, are just not a great three-point shooting team. It's really LeBron James and Anthony Davis, super top-heavy. Yeah, they are the 2 best players in the NBA, in my opinion, but they don't shoot that well. And 3 guys on the Miami Heat who could go off at any given time, and which keeps them in every single ball game, and ultimately why they won the Eastern Conference. Given Tyler Hero, we've seen what he's done as a rookie. Duncan Robinson is a walking three-pointer. And a lot of people are sleeping on Jay Crowder, I thought he's been shooting very well this postseason. With their shooting ability, and yeah, they could play. I think they're a good defensive team as well. Very well coached between Jimmy Butler, Bam Adebayo, of course. He's been playing sensational. And Gordon Dragic, man, like they're just deeper than the Lakers, and which is why I think they could push this series 7 games. But ultimately, I'm not going to pick them.
Okay, so first, I disagree. I think the Rockets and the Nuggets both could have gave the Heat fits. We could talk about that another time, but the Heat, yes, I am not saying that they're not going to be competitive in the finals. I did not think the Heat were going to make it this far, but I am 100% a believer in their team. Eric Spoelstra has those guys firing on all cylinders. Every guy is believing in each other. They're in the right positions defensively, and like you said, they're great at making their threes. Tyler Hero is absolutely amazing, and Duncan Robinson has been lights out, like you said. And yes, I agree. Jay Crowder was that very low-key piece in that Andre Iguodala trade that's definitely paying huge dividends for the Heat now. But just like every other team the Lakers have faced in the playoffs, their big man rotation is just too much. Bam, he's only one guy. He can only do so much. When you have Anthony Davis, JaVale McGee, and a rejuvenated Dwight Howard bringing it at you night in and night out, the other team is only going to get in foul trouble. So Bam, I expect him to be in foul trouble. He's not going to get in a rhythm. If you're going to have Jimmy Butler on LeBron the whole time, he's going to get in foul trouble. So after Bam, who do they have on the inside that could stop Anthony Davis or Dwight Howard? Because I do not think that Kelly Olynyk is going to get the job done.
Yeah, there's a few things to that. JaVale McGee's I've always been a supporter of JaVale McGee since he's been with the Lakers. I thought he's done an exceptional job. But once the bubble came, he's been pretty close to unplayable. As much as I tried to defend him, he's been god-awful. Dwight Howard especially, man, love what he's been doing. I was nervous that he wasn't even going to come to the bubble, but thank God he did. The defense he brings, the energy, I love what he brings. Yeah, he's not going to light it up. His numbers aren't going to jump at you. But if you see just the heart, the hustle, and how hard he plays on the defensive side of the ball between rim protection and rebounds, that speaks for itself. But the Heat are going to get their points from the three-point line. I think that's their way to win, is them getting hot. I don't think the Heat are going to really go about trying to play to the Lakers' strength. Yeah, the Lakers will kill them inside. I totally expect that. LeBron James and Anthony Davis, they're going to do what they're going to do. They're going to probably drop 65 points a night, which is the only way they have to win. But I think Spo is going to have the Heat play to their strength, and it's honestly going to be like the Lakers are going to have to match their playing style, which is shoot the three ball, which they don't do very well at all. They're one of the worst three-point shooting teams in the NBA. The way the Lakers are going to win is contain the three-point shooting, play good perimeter defense, and LeBron and Anthony Davis are going to have to carry a really heavy load.
I don't think so. People are really forgetting that Rondo has been coming off the bench averaging 10 and 10 for the Lakers. Kuzma has been averaging in double digits. The Lakers have some firepower coming off the bench that a lot of people are sleeping on. Yes, their three-point shooting has not been where it should be, but you can't expect Danny Green to shoot 25% in the finals.
He's terrible.
His numbers are only going to increase. Danny Green is a very good shooter, just going through a bad stretch. He's performed clutch in the finals multiple times. I don't expect anything less from him. But yes, the Lakers are going to have to worry about the Heat three-point shooting. But Dwight Howard and JaVale McGee, if he does play, and Anthony Davis, where they impose their will is battling for every rebound. If you look at the Nuggets series and the Blazers series, Dwight Howard was fighting for the offensive rebound so often that the other players on the other team had no choice but to foul him. He's too big, he's too strong, and he doesn't play that much. The guy is fresh. The Lakers go in there and Frank Vogel tells him, hey, you got 6 fouls. Punish people. And that's what he's doing. And who's going to stop him? If they put Bam on Dwight, Anthony Davis is going to have a field day. If they put Bam on Anthony Davis, there's no player on the Heat that could physically match up with Dwight Howard. They're just – it's a bad matchup for the Heat, man, and I love them. I think they're a great team, a Cinderella team. They have been so much fun to watch. I think I've watched every Heat game in the playoffs, and they made me a believer. But the Lakers, man, they're just too much at this time.
I think both teams defensively are going to struggle a ton because the Lakers match up terribly defensively with the Heat three-point shooting. And like you said, LeBron is the best attacker of the basketball we've seen in probably NBA history. Anthony Davis, the most versatile big man in the NBA right now. Score inside, mid-range, three. I mean, he does it all. Get to the free throw line. So I think it's going to be a high-scoring series, a high, fast-paced game, and it's going to be basically who could make the critical stops when you need them to. Because I think both teams are going to struggle to stop each other. But I want to switch gears a little bit. We know LeBron James, where his legacy's at, ultimately why he wanted to come to the bubble so bad. People say that if he wins this championship, doing it with 3 different franchises in both conferences, kill the Western Conference narrative that he can never do in the West, he could be the GOAT. But also, if he does fall to 3-7 in the finals, especially with this team, with expectations to win a title, what does his legacy make if he does win? And what does he lose? Where does this rank in his failures if he does lose versus if he wins? Where does this take his legacy to?
So if LeBron loses, this is bad. He will be the guy that just cannot win it all as much as he should. He would, in my opinion, I don't think he would be anywhere near the GOAT conversation if they lose this championship. You cannot go to the finals 10 times and lose 7. That's insane. Michael Jordan, that's the GOAT, man. I'm sorry to say, but you go to 6, you win 6, you're a beast. You know, not to take anything away from like guys like Bill Russell and Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, but I wish I got to see Mike play more. But from what I've seen on the documentary and how his peers talk about him, Michael Jordan is still the GOAT. But if LeBron wins, it's going to be different. He's gone to 2 bad teams, 2 teams that were nowhere near making the playoffs, and turn them into champions. If LeBron wins, that conversation is going to change a lot more, and he should get a lot more credit. LeBron James left the weak East, came to the loaded Western Conference, took his team to the finals, and won it all. And that's just in year 2.
Right.
Let's see what happens, man. I wonder where the narrative is going to go, because I definitely think being the GOAT and being the best player is 2 different things. Right now, Michael Jordan is the GOAT, but I think LeBron James is the best all-around basketball player ever. He's not really bad at anything.
Right.
He's all around the best, but being the GOAT, Michael Jordan, man, he went to 6, he won 6.
There's a lot at stake with him. He has the weight of this world on his shoulders this series. Expected to win this time. I'm always in LeBron's defense of losing all those finals with the Cavs. Like, they were never going to beat the Spurs in 2007. Let's be realistic. The dude was 22 years old. They were never beating an all-time great Spurs team. In 2015, Kyrie gets hurt, and that's where the series really fell apart. I'm not even going to mention Kevin Love, but I think Kyrie was really the X factor. Once his sidekick went down, he could create his own shot. went down. They had the Cavs had no offense. There was no way they could win. When KD pulled up to Golden State, come on, it's a wrap. They were 73 up. This year, there is not a single excuse in the world for LeBron James and the Los Angeles Lakers to get it done. He has a teammate in him that is clearly and by far the best teammate he's ever had. I'm not going to say he's necessarily his legacy is better than Dwayne Wade, but the way they play together and their games gelling matters. We have to take that into account. LeBron James and Dwayne Wade, the Heat were so successful because they were so great individually. Their games never really gelled well. It was more of your turn, my turn kind of thing. But their games didn't gel. LeBron, obviously, we know he loves shooters, and Dwayne Wade is not a shooter. But LeBron has never had a big man like Anthony Davis. The pick and roll is just virtually unstoppable. LeBron dumps the ball to AD on the high post. It's an automatic bucket, or worst case scenario, foul shot. He goes to the line. But this series is a must. He's wearing that purple and gold. We know all the superstars, all the legends that have worn that jersey, and every single one of them has delivered a title to Laker Nation. Rest in peace, Kobe Bryant, Shaquille O'Neal, Magic Johnson, Will Chamberlain, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. The list could go on forever, who have hoisted all those banners that the Lakers have. LeBron James is regarded as a consensus top 2 player in the history of basketball. There is not an excuse in the world to not get it done. He needs this more than ever, and I believe this is probably as much pressure as he had probably since 2011 and 2012. 2011 when he had the meltdown against the Mavs, and 2012 where it's you better get it done or Pat Riley may break this whole thing up. If he could win this title 4-6, yeah, it's not as sexy as 6-0, but you got to look at the individual's body of work, what they've done to get there, what they've done in the playoffs, the individual playoff runs, who they matched up against. But this will be huge for his legacy. Delivering the one for the Lakers kills the Western Conference narrative that he was afraid to go in the West. He could never win a title in the West. He finally did it there. Win a 4th Finals MVP, which would be second all time. He would do it with 3 different franchises. The first player ever to have 3 Finals MVPs for 3 different franchises. So it's not like he could be a system player. It's not. He enters a team. They're instant title contenders, instant title favorites. And now so if he does win that, I think the GOAT conversation is a real conversation. People, the Jordan sycophants will say, oh, LeBron's still not in the conversation because they're just so emotionally attached to him. But if you look at the individual body of work both of them did, Jordan, you could say he has a higher peak, sure. But the longevity, the all-around game that LeBron has, the GOAT debate will be literally neck and neck. Everything is just right on line. But if the Lakers do lose, this will be his biggest failure by far behind the 2011 finals, if not even, honestly, kind of close to as bad as that. All the talk that he's had all year, the Wash King, he's coming back with a vengeance. He's got, again, like I said before, a co-MVP caliber player next to him, who's honestly the second best player in the world right now, against a team that's not very starstruck. I mean, this would be a disaster, and especially wearing the purple and gold. But yeah, if he's 3-7 in the finals, I will never try to ever put his name in the same sentence as Michael Jordan. I think just because of how much expectations he has, not necessarily that the competition is a team that should beat them. It's just the expectations are here. We've seen Kawhi Leonard have expectations, and he folded completely. LeBron James, there is no excuse. Get it done.
And it's for Kobe.
Absolutely. There is just no room for error. This has to get done. The GOAT debate is a real thing if the Lakers could pull this off. But if the Lakers lose, I'll never say another word with his name in the class of Michael Jordan. This will be his second biggest stain of his career by far.
Yes, I agree with you. There's no excuse. This loss would look just as bad or even worse as the Lakers loss against the Pistons early in the 2000s.
04.
Heavy favorites coming into the series, going against a team that is just on fire and gelling together. But with the loss of Kobe Bryant, the weight that you mentioned that's on LeBron's shoulders and Anthony Davis's shoulders, people gotta remember, before Anthony Davis went to the Lakers, people said he just couldn't get it done in the playoffs. He wasn't a playoff guy.
That was such a bad
weight on his shoulders.
I know people said that is such a bad take.
Man, I could see both of them coming out and just absolutely destroying in the finals.
They should. They should.
Finals LeBron is a different level from playoff LeBron, which is a different level than regular season LeBron. I'm looking forward to him turning it up another notch, averaging about 32, 12, and 12.
30 and 10. He needs to have 30 points a game, 10 assists a game. No excuses. I don't want to hear you're tired. I don't want to hear he can only be the king in certain moments. This is the last series of the season. Get it done, period. I'm not making excuses. If people call me a LeBron emotionalist, that I try to defend him every way possible. Every way possible, I will try to defend his finals cases. I am not saying a word. It is just all the blame. I'm blaming. He's the first one I'm blaming. I don't care what he does. I'm blaming him. Period. End of story.
Can you see the difference between the Lakers team and LeBron in particular and the Heat team? When they both won their conference finals, the celebration by the Heat and the job's not done yet attitude with the Lakers.
Exactly.
They're on a mission. They're dialed in on a mission and ready to kill. I cannot wait until this game tonight.
Hey, let's do it. That's going to wrap up today. Mac, always pleasure talking hoops with you. Thanks for coming on.
Thanks, man. You have a good one.
You too.